Hi, everybody. It's Shannon Lee. I'm here at the Bruce Lee offices, and we are live. Let's see. So I hope you guys will send in some comments, questions. We asked for some questions ahead of time. This year is a big year for us. We are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Jeet Kune Do. And when I say that, I guess what I mean is the first appearance of the term Jeet Kune Do in writing was in 1967. I know prior to that my father had been contemplating the term, the name, had been talking to people about it, but in 67 is the first time we really see it show up in his notes in writing, and the rest is history, as they say. So this year marks that anniversary, and so any questions about Jeet Kune Do, questions about our TV series Warrior with Cinemax, questions about our film Project Little Dragon, questions about the next issue of the comic book, lots of fun things going on. So I will look at some of the questions we've got in, and then anything else that anyone wants to ask, please feel free, and we'll go from here. So let's see. Someone asked, why has Bruce Lee, your father, and JKD stayed relevant all these years? So that's a good question. I often talk about this, and I really believe that the reason that my father continues to be relevant, and the reason JKD continues to be relevant, is because it has a basis in what works, and it has a basis in philosophy, and not just thinking about interesting philosophy, but also applied philosophy, actually living it. My father lived his philosophy, he applied it to his art and his life, and because of that, it continues to be something that everybody can use in their daily lives. It's what made him the person that he is on screen and in life, and that's why he continues to be relevant. And JKD, as you know, has been likened a lot of times to MMA, although, you know, I think that they're different but similar. And so he's credited a lot for really figuring out what works in combat and what works in life. And because of that, and applying that, it continues to be relevant, because we all want to know what works, right? So let's see. Hello, Omar. I see. Hello, Shannon. Thank you so much for the lovely comments. Let's see. So let me introduce someone really quick. Over here we have a special guest, my daughter Ren.
Hi.
Ren is now 14. So I know she pops her head into these things every once in a while. She's getting bigger. Ooh, I just punched you in the face. Anyway, a question was, what are the best books, DVDs, videos to teach yourself the way of Jeet Kune Do? Obviously, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do is a great book. It has instructional material in it, but it's not really laid out like a how-to book. I want to say that was done purposefully, because that book was published posthumously after my father passed away, and because my father really wanted Jeet Kune Do to be considered a living, breathing entity, something that you couldn't just crystallize into 5 easy steps, that it was a process, an ever-evolving process, and a very personal process. He always had trouble sort of like putting it into book format. He struggled with that a lot. He was always working on a book. He wanted to express his thoughts and beliefs on martial arts and his martial way, but he always felt that if he put it into a book, that it would become this crystallized tome that then people would say, this is it, and this is all that it is, when it was really a process for him. And so after he passed away, and my mom and Mito Uehara, black belt, decided to put together a book on Jeet Kune Do. They really purposefully made the book a little bit loose in format. It has philosophy in the beginning. It gets into some technique. It's all direct from his own writings, and it ends with philosophy so that you can understand the importance of philosophy within the art itself. And so it's meant to be a little bit like you can sort of take it as it hits you and do with it as you like. It's not meant to be like, this is it. So that's a great book. That's really the seminal book, I would say. Then there's also Bruce Lee's Fighting Methods, also done with Mito posthumously back in the day. That is much more of an instructional how-to book. We have a bunch of other great books on our store. And by the way, if you sign up on our email list, you get 15% off of your first purchase. And we just redid our store, which is, we really listened to a lot of your feedback and comments, and we just redid our store. We're still getting more stuff available for you guys, but we're really happy with the way it turned out. We're really happy that you guys are liking it, so check it out if you get an opportunity. Let's see, I'm just looking at oh, Donna says she'd like to see a tribute to Brandon. I mean, I myself always want to give personal tribute to him. I've been thinking about him a lot lately, actually, because, there have continued to be a number of accidents that have happened recently on film sets. And, I'm always really really want to be a person who promotes safety and to make sure that everybody is paying attention and doing their best to keep everyone safe. Stuntmen really don't get the due that they should get, I feel, in the industry, because they provide so much risk to make, and actors too, who do some of their own stunts, to create the effect that you want and make a film exciting. And so it's really a call to all people involved in the coordination of the stunts, the choreographing and setting of the stunts, the executing of the stunts, the stuntmen and the actors and the whole crew. Everybody knows how serious it is and what's at stake. So, it's it just makes me think about him all the time, because he was really, it was really an unfortunate thing, and had the people involved in the Crow been less negligent and more on top of what they were doing, that accident could have been avoided. So, yes, we are always looking for ways to pay tribute to my brother, and we'll be doing so more in the coming time, so stay tuned for that. Let's see. Oh, there's one in Spanish. So let me get to some more of these questions that you guys sent in. Hey, Chris. Yeah. There's just came up on the screen. I'm not sure what this is, so if you can take a look at it. Do I just put that out? Okay. It's a work in progress. Another thing we've been doing a lot of, and we just celebrated our 1 year of, is the Bruce Lee podcast. This week we have our live podcast available. Somebody to listen on iTunes and SoundCloud and Stitcher. It's been 1 year of the podcast. We just did a podcast challenge that was super exciting and fun, and a lot of you participated in, and thank you for that. And it was great for us as well. The podcast is where we talk about my father's philosophy and how to apply it to your daily life. And we have a question here. Would you do a live podcast tour across the U.S.? Well, that would be something to consider. I would be interested in that, or at least, if not a full-on tour, like doing it in a few places around the country. That would be awesome. I really encourage you all of you to try and listen to it, even if you're not like super into martial arts. It's really for everybody, the podcast. So Another question is, how did the podcast start? It started because my mission essentially has always been to get out my father's philosophy more and to have people understand how much of a philosopher and thinker he was. And as I said earlier, like that really forms the basis of the exciting persona that you see when you see him on screen or even in an interview, just being himself. And that's why he continues to be relevant today, even if you're not 100% aware of it. And so for me, the philosophy has been super meaningful to me in my life. It has helped me in so many ways and continues to help me in so many ways. I mean, I'll be flipping through a book now and a quote that I've read 100 times, for whatever reason at that moment, whatever is going on in my life will suddenly ring so true and be so relevant, and I'll go, oh, wow, okay, I got that. Or, wow, that just took that to a whole another level of meaning. And so because of that, I always wanted a way to get that out more. And so it really started as an experiment. So Sharon Lee, who works here with me, and I, we have talks all the time, philosophical talks about his philosophy and who he was as a human being and all of that. And so we just decided that maybe we should try doing a podcast. And it started as an experiment. We had no idea if people were going to listen and be into it. And as it turns out, it's been going for a year, and we've been doing an episode every week for a year, and we're going to keep doing it, and we're going to be talking to some of our podcast challenge winners over the next few weeks. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I know that it's great because even when Sharon and I will like go and record an episode, you know, we might be tired, we might be like exhausted, it's been a long week, or we have a lot going on, and we go over there and we sit down and we start talking the philosophy, and by the end of the session, we're both super energized and feeling good. And it's like, wow, okay, this works. So it's been a great experiment, and I really encourage you all to check it out. Will the podcast be available in video? That's actually something we're working on. We're actually working on a partnership right now with a company, and we are talking about adding that capability at some point. So stay tuned. You never know. Here are some questions about Warrior. So let me tell you about Warrior. Warrior is a TV series. It's going to be on Cinemax. We're starting to shoot this fall, and we're greenlit for the first season. It's based on a treatment that my father wrote, and we're partnered with Justin Lin, Fast and Furious and Star Trek, and we're super excited. Jonathan Tropper wrote the script based on my father's treatment, and he's been great, and the whole team has been really great. I have to say, everyone's been just a real pleasure to work with, and we're super excited about bringing this TV series to you. So someone said, how true will it be to the original ideas of Master Lee? So it's actually very true to his original idea, but you have to remember his original idea was a treatment. And for those of you who don't know what a treatment is, it's a synopsis, essentially. It's I'd have to look back. It's like 6 or 7 pages of the kernel of the idea. So we have that. We also have a lot of his notes that he took about the characters and all that sort of thing. So the only difference, I think, is that back then it was conceived of as more of a, you know, a man sort of on adventure wandering through the Old West. It takes place in 19th century San Francisco at the time of the Chinese Exclusion Act and a number of other things going on. The finishing of the railroads, the gold rush is happening at this time. It's just before the Industrial Revolution, and just before the San Francisco earthquake. So, you know, my father always wanted it to be very based in reality. He did a lot of research. We have his notes where he went down to the library and researched San Francisco and Chinatown and the Old West and what it was like. The way he had it set up was more of an episodic, but this is really more in the tradition of the way TV series are done today. Going to be, you know, a long arc of a series, and it's really going to be about what does it take, and what do you have to go through to become a true warrior. So it's going to be a fun and interesting thing, and it's very true to his original concept. When do we expect to see the TV series on Cinemax? We're don't hold me to this, but I believe fall, third or fourth quarter of 2018. So we're shooting the pilot in October, and the rest of the series January, and it's going to be super exciting. Let's see, will the series only be shown in California? No. So, or will this be something that you would show on a national? So Cinemax, as you know, is a pay channel. So it is a premium channel, which I know is kind of a pain. But obviously at some point all of this stuff is watchable. I will hope that you will, you know, tune in if you can, and subscribe if you can. I really think it's going to be a pretty fantastic show with not only great action, but great story, great characters, and, you know, relevant issues to today, even though it takes place in the 19th century. So, let's see. I see somebody talking about a dream that they had. And so many nice comments. Thank you, Suma. Thank you, Fabrizio. Thank you, all of you. Hello. Let's talk about Little Dragon. So Little Dragon is a Bruce Lee younger years biopic. It follows my father's life as a teen growing up in Hong Kong when he was training with Ip Man, and going to school and doing cha-cha and learning Wing Chun and all that. So it focuses on that period in time. Someone asked, you know, what period in time will the film focus on? So it focuses on that. It's sort of meant to be seen as a Bruce Lee origin story, if you will. Like, what were the influences working on him as a child that created the man that we all know later in life. So the film is about his growing up years, and it will end with him going off to the United States as an 18-year-old. So, what is your favorite part of this whole project? Wow. I think that, so for those of you who don't know, I wrote the first draft of the script. We're bringing in other writers to polish it up and make it presentable for audiences, but that was a really fun process for me. I enjoy writing, so to get to be able to be involved in the creative of it, to see this come to life. This is going to be our first film project that we're doing through our production company, Bruce Lee Entertainment. And so to see this all come together, again, working with some great people. My producing partner, Tim Kwok, has been an amazing partner throughout this. Shekhar Kapoor is directing, and he's a wonderful human being. He loves to have like long philosophical conversations about my father and what were his motivations, and he's really delving into it in a way that, you know, again, no Bruce Lee film is going to be without action, but this is not really meant to be an action film. It's meant to be, you know, a coming-of-age drama about this man. And, you know, my father was also getting into a lot of illegal fights at that time in his life, so there was a lot going on. Hong Kong was an interesting and dynamic place, and is going to be in and of itself a character in the film. So we're really looking forward to it. We are, it said, who will star as Bruce? I wish I could tell you that. And the only reason I can't tell you is because we're actually down to the last few candidates that we're trying to decide between. So stay tuned. I'm sure there will be an announcement soon. So I'm actually, we're filming this project in southern China and Malaysia because we have to approximate 1950s era Hong Kong, which current era Hong Kong it doesn't. So we're going to be going to shoot this in the fall of this year and for release in 2018. So let's see. Oh, somebody just asked, was a young Bruce Lee cast yet? So we just answered that question. Let's see. Oh, somebody said they were blessed to be able to go to Hong Kong to see the exhibit at the Hong Kong Heritage Museum. Yeah, that has been a great partnership with Hong Kong Heritage. There's an exhibit through the Bruce Lee Foundation that is up there, and that has been running for the last 4 years. It's up for, I think, another year, and we're actually in talks to discuss with them about what we want to do next. So, stay tuned for that. For those of you who don't know, the Bruce Lee Foundation also just launched an amazing online museum exhibit, so that now if you are not able to travel to Hong Kong or Seattle, where we have an exhibit at the Wing Luke Museum as well, you can go online to the Google Cultural Institute, accessible through the Bruce Lee Foundation website at bruceleefoundation.org, and see this exhibit. I want to say thank you to Richard Gruer, who runs and directs the foundation, for all of his time and effort putting that together. It's a really great exhibit. It's online. Everyone can go check it out. And we are going to be adding to it and growing it as time goes on. There's actually a question here about the foundation. With a lot of the proceeds going to scholarships, have you guys thought about expanding what Bruce was doing and you guys are continuing to do with any of the schools and expand out toward the East Coast? We have big, exciting plans for the foundation for next year. We're actually in the final moments of awarding our scholarships for this year. We've got it down to the top finalists, and we had over 2,000 entries this year, which was a lot. We were reading many scholarships, and so we're down to the top finalists, and we are going to be announcing that soon. Aside from that, we started piloting a program called Little Dragons, and it helps to provide martial arts instruction for kids who can't afford it. So we've got some groups here in California that we've been helping. We're actually looking to expand that program largely, and not only expand it to other areas, but expand the scope of what it does and create even more of a mentorship program for kids in martial arts or other youth organizations or schools and that sort of thing, to be able to create access to the lessons of Bruce Lee for kids at a young age and spread that message far and wide. So that will definitely be able to come to travel all over to the East Coast and across the world, and at the same time our on-the-ground programs, we're always looking to expand. So of course it's always easiest to pilot something in your local area first to make sure that it's working and all of that. So eventually though, yes, the idea is to create programs that can be accessed by as many people as possible so that it can have the greatest impact as possible, which is also why we did the online version of the museum, so that people all over the world could enjoy it. Let's Somebody wrote a really nice comment. I'm just going to read about our Dragon Rises comic book. I don't know if you guys have checked that out, but we started a comic book last year. We're working on a 5th issue, which will drop fall of this year. It's a fun, all ages adventure story about Bruce Lee coming back. But somebody wrote, I'm 64. My father passed away when I was 11, and I always wonder what he would think about the world as it is now. That is why I love the Dragon Rises comic series. I know it came from your heart, a heart sincerely desiring to have him back again. He was such a powerful and intelligent man. I'm sure if there is a way back, he will find it. Much love to you and your family. That was nice. Somebody asked if I'm going to make an appearance in the comics. There's no plan to at the moment, but I guess you never know. One of the characters is, however, named after my daughter Ren, and loosely based on her. So how much creativity do you have with making the books? I mean, tons of creativity. My partner, Jeff Klein, and I wrote the first double issue together. So we created the story and wrote the first issue. We hired everybody. We worked with the artists and the colorists and the cover artists. And I mean, from beginning to end, soup to nuts, we have been involved in the creativity of it, and it's really been a labor of love and a fun project to do together. So let's see, any more questions? Livonia, awesome day to you too. Luis, hola, how are you? Let's see. Somebody asked about me making a special appearance in the comic. Well, we'll see. Maybe. Somebody wanted to know if my mom speaks Chinese. So actually, nowadays, not as much. But when she was married to my father, she did learn to speak Cantonese. In fact, made a point of learning to speak Cantonese, and it was actually kind of stealth on her part, because when we lived in Hong Kong, because she's, a Caucasian lady with blonde hair and blue eyes, everybody just assumed that she couldn't speak Chinese, and would oftentimes speak in front of her, thinking that she couldn't understand what they were saying, and little did they know that she could. And she was very, very helpful when, during the filming of Enter the Dragon, with liaising between the Hong Kong crew and producers and the U.S. crew and producers. She was very helpful with all of that. So yes, it was often, and she can still throw out a few phrases here and there, obviously, but it's one of those things, like, you really have to practice it to keep it going. It's not an easy language, in particular Cantonese. But yes, my mom did learn how to speak Cantonese and picked that up, which is pretty boss of her, if I may say. Somebody asked, do I have any ambitions to do anything outside of the Bruce Lee Foundation, such as more acting or singing? I definitely have aspirations to do lots of things. Whether acting and singing are among them, we'll see. But I do sing occasionally, every now and again. I have a good friend who does a number of concerts in Asia by the name of Sam Hui, and I occasionally sing with him. I'm actually going to be singing with him in October in San Francisco. He's coming out to do a concert for the community out here. So I continue to do that every now and again. But acting, I don't have any plans to act anytime soon, but I do have some desire to do more writing, so stay tuned on that. And I'm really focusing on trying to create some really amazing, awesome programs. We are working on a book as well that we're super excited to be able to bring you, and just to continue to make my father and his legacy and his philosophy more accessible to all of you and applicable. Um, we got a lot. I got a lot of plans, a lot of business plans, but then also personal plans as well. Let's see. I want, before we wrap it up, because we're getting toward the end here, somebody asked if I'd like to go to Comic-Con. I've been to Comic-Con a number of times, actually, but not in a big project way. That might be coming as these projects ramp up, so we'll wait and see. Comic-Con is fun, though. I just want to remind everybody as we wrap this up, first of all, thank you for participating, watching, saying hi, asking all your questions. I'm continuing to do whatever I can to keep the legacy growing, reaching out to all of you. I love to hear your thoughts on all of it, so you know, anything you have to say, you can leave comments. This video, this will continue to be going out over the next couple weeks, so you can watch it if you missed it, no problem. I just want to mention again that with the store, which, you know, we just did a new relaunch of and we're super happy about, that we're continuing to fill out the stuff in the store, so keep coming back. There's going to be new stuff all the time. We've been having a lot more international orders, and so we're super excited about that. Thank you to all of you all around the world for supporting us. You know, the store helps to fund all of these projects that we do. So, you know, whether it's being able to give donations to the foundation and help those programs and that work, whether it's, you know, being able to do our own comic book or develop some of these projects or all of that, you know, I'm always very grateful for your support. Emotionally and through your actions as well. By the way, Bruce Tea is available through the store and also in a number of stores in and around Southern California. So keep your eye out for that. That's based on my father's formula. And again, if you sign up for the email list, you can get 15% off your purchase through the store, your first purchase. And I just want to thank all of you for the love. I love seeing all the like thumbs and hearts like floating across the screen. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.